Hello, everybody. This is Joyce Glass, the right coach, trying to get things set up right here so I can see everything. How is everyone this morning? Hope you are doing good and ready to learn some of the right words to write. Where's everybody from? I see you've got some, like 7 viewers. Not sure who Loose 37913 is, but I'm glad you're here. And we're going to talk about some words that are the better way to write and sometimes speak. But sometimes we speak differently than we write. And so I am glad that you have showed up and you're with me today. And we're going to talk about some of the right words. One of the words that I have a problem with, shall I say, it is now considered a part of our language, but it is not my favorite word to use. And so what I like is, hello Melissa, and I believe that's Sue. Good morning. I'm glad you ladies are here. Today I'm talking about the right words. Hey Melissa. And words that we use, sometimes we use in language that we don't want to use when we're either speaking professionally or when we're writing. Hello, Mr. Rick Thule. Thule. I always want to call you Thule, but it's Thule. Thank you for sharing, everybody, too. What do y'all think of my frogs today? Got some frogs on. I got these when I went to the Cayman Islands. It was the Cayman Islands where I found those. Anybody like frogs? Well, today, like I said, thanks, Sue. Good morning, Rick. Today we're going to talk about words that are better to use than others, the right words to write. Because there are a lot of words that we use when we are speaking that are sometimes filler or just sometimes how we talk, but it's not necessarily the best way to write or speak. And one of the first ones that gets my goat is impactful. You may have said it, you may have heard it, but impactful technically is not a word because impactful is an adjective. And according to thegrammarist.com, I looked this up because I was having trouble with this word. Like, it didn't look right, it didn't sound right. And then I'm in a speaking group, a program where they're teaching us to speak professionally, and they said do not use this word because it is not really technically a word. It has become an approved word in our language, but it is not the best word to use. Just like a lot of words, there are some words that are better to use than others, and impactful is one of those. It is an adjective that has been coined, in our time right now. And it's actually, Grammars calls it a meaningless buzzword, and I would agree with them. It never made sense to me, now I know why. Because impactful is illogical. The suffix ful means full, and impact is not a quantity, and hence it cannot fill anything. That's what Grammars says on their blog post about this. The problems are that full means having the quality of being full, and impact bears a secondary sense of power to make an impression, or such power can be a quantity. So the complaint is that it can't be a quantity. Impact cannot be a quantity. It is, there's other words such as powerful, influential. There are better words to use than impactful. The proper word to use would be impact. It had an impact on me. Or impacted. But then those of you know that Whitney Traylor in our group, I posted about this not too long ago, and I think it was in Launch Out, and she made the comment that impact reminds her of other things like bowels and there was something else. Being impacted. So impacted is a better choice, but it may remind some people of things that you don't want them to think about, such as bowels being impacted. So that's why you want to think about what you say and what you write, because you want to have the right impact. You want to have the words to be powerful. And so there's some other words that we're going to go over too that are not as powerful, that I keep seeing a lot. I even got an email this morning saying, I have gotten, and it was like fingernails on the chalkboard for me. Because, yes, that is grammatically correct, but there is a much better way to say it. And there's usually, yes, Rick, you know my pain. There's a better way to say it. Instead of saying, I got a raise, I received a raise. Instead of, I got a new car, I bought a new car, I found a new car, I purchased a new car, whatever. There's a better word that means what you're trying to say other than got or gotten. And please don't put that in emails, and please don't say it if you're speaking professionally. If you're just talking to your friends, you know, that's no big deal. That's how we talk. That's one of those things, that's how we talk, and that's why a lot of people will write like that. They write like they speak. But when you write, there are some things, unless you are writing dialogue between people in a, fiction novel, you need to have a more powerful word so it can have a better impact. Like how I use that. You want it to have a better impact. You want it to say what you really mean. Got doesn't really necessarily mean the same thing as bought or purchased or received. I received a raise. I was paid a raise. However you want to put it. But there's usually a better way and a stronger way. Another one of mine, and y'all post in what are your pet peeve words? Rick, do you have any other ones? Sue, anybody have any other ones? Another one of mine is that. When I wrote my first book, I had that in a couple of places. And my writing friend, yes, that. Rick says that. My writing friend said, Joyce, that is not that necessary. And I realized what she meant. Because if you really read a lot of words that say that, she was going over that. There's a sentence. Versus she was going over the exam questions. You want to be specific, especially if you're writing or speaking. I get that. Well, what's that? Even though you may have been talking about that, it is better to say the right word. What are you talking about? Are you talking about exam questions? Are you talking about how to speak better? Whatever you're talking about, say the right thing. It is more powerful. Right, that has purpose. That has a purpose. Use it properly. But really, there are very few times that you need that. Very few times is that the only word, because either you can reword it and it's stronger, or you can use a different word instead of that and it's better. Again, it's stronger. And that's what you want to do in your writing. You want your writing to be strong. Yes, so. I say so a lot, but don't put so in your writing that much. I mean, like one so per blog post is about all you need. And that is like a 500, 2,000 word blog post. So don't so much, because it's a filler. It's something we use when we are talking as a filler. And a lot of these words that are pet peeves for some of us that write a lot and speak, we know that they aren't the best words. I pulled that out of my book is another that sentence. Versus I pulled the quote out of my book. I found the quote in my book. I shared the quote from my book. Do you see the difference? That is just, it's boring. It doesn't have any strength to it. Whereas I pulled the quote from my book is an action. I found the quote in my book. There it is. I found it. I shared the quote from my book. I did something with that quote. I shared that quote. I just did it. I shared the quote from my book. And a lot of times you don't want to, I mean, you don't need to use that. So be, mindful of that. Be mindful of that. Isn't that funny? I'm using that. Be mindful of looking for that. That is not that necessary. That is not that helpful. Another one is just. I just went to the store. I just can't believe he did that. Just, again, is another one that we use in speaking a lot. What are some ones that you use in speaking, or that you've noticed or you hear people? Where I live, there's another thing that people say that drives me nuts that I'd never heard. I don't remember hearing that much before here, but there are a lot of sweet people that are, some of them are country people, some of them are just not as good in English. But the, she done that. Or no, I'm sorry, she don't. She don't and he don't. He don't go there no more. No, she or he doesn't go there anymore. You don't, he don't, and she don't. It doesn't work. And it doesn't sound professional either. And that's why, again, in your writing and in your speaking, you want it to sound professional. You want it to be clear and strong. Do y'all have any other words that you think about? So that was impactful. Is not really a word. It technically is a word in our vocabulary now as accepted, but it is not a word that does not technically make sense in the English language. And so I advise you not to use it. I see it lots of places. I hear it lots of places. But it needs to, if you're writing or speaking, I would avoid that word. Find a better word, a different word that's going to be a stronger word. Again, got or get. Do not put those in your writing, your emails, your blog post, anything. It's put the word there that it's supposed to be. I got a raise versus I received a raise. You received that raise. It just didn't fall out of the sky. It was given to you. So you want to do that, again, because make it stronger, make it more powerful. And then that is not that necessary. Is not good either. But it's what we use a lot to fill when we're not sure what to say in speaking, especially when we're live. So I hope everyone has enjoyed this. I hope it's helpful. Sue is in a part of my group. I invite you to the Writers Network. I think a lot of you are in that group. If you are not, I would love to have you. It's the Writers Network. You can find it on Facebook. It's the Writers Network for bloggers, writers, and speakers. Because I think there may be another one that's just the Writers Network. But mine is the Writers Network for bloggers, writers, and speakers. So if you would love to join that, I would love to have you. It's a great place to connect and share, and I share little tidbits like this. And I appreciate everyone being here today. And if you don't have any other words that drive you crazy, Rick, do you have any other words that drive you crazy that you thought of? Or Sue, anybody? I see Mr. Bill was here and he had to go. But I appreciate you, and Melissa, thank you for being here and for sharing this, and I will post the replay, and hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Thank you.